Okay, now it's running. All good. Hello, Robert Roskowski, Omega Comics, and good is go. Scott Farr. Hello, welcome to Sunday Comic Investment Chat. Um, just a couple quick housekeeping. The auction video will be load tomorrow. I shot the video Friday and took me a while to edit and put all the clips together, but it's gonna be like a 26-minute video because I show both the front and back of all the books and talk about the grades of each book. So it's a long video. So um, hopefully you can skip to the lot that you wish to bid on and don't have to watch the entire 26 minutes unless you want to bid on every single lot. Hello, TH. Yo, out with the family for breakfast. Yes, today I believe my wife is making me breakfast. So, hello, Master X. Um, it's one of those Sunday where she's gonna attempt to make. If you go on YouTube, search up the Japanese fluffy pancake that are like this thick. It's like 2 inch thick. It's like really fluffy. Um, if you go on YouTube and search it up, you see it. But we have been watching some of those videos here and there for a long time, and she's going to attempt to make me that pancake and Anthony this morning. So that's her birthday gift to me is some fluffy pancakes on Sunday where I don't have to do the cooking. Hello, Christopher Donaldson. So welcome to Sunday Chat, comic related. Um, One of the thing that you hear often in comic books as well as the stock market is blue chip. Okay, a lot of people talk about blue chip stock, uh, you know, as well as in comic books, and there are some similarity in both area as far as blue chip. Um, you know, there are some similarity, but there are some glaring differences. Okay, and I will talk about the glaring differences in blue chip comic books as well as compare to blue chip stocks because I think they are not quite the same in some aspect. When you're talking about the stock market, right? If you've been in the stock market long enough, you hear people talk about blue chip in, say, for example, IBM, Apple. Okay, for now, today, people would talk. Apple probably the biggest blue chip company out there as far as the U.S. But you can throw in a lot of other business that would fall under the term blue chip. But there are blue chip in the past that has no longer have that title. For example, growing up and start to invest in the stock market in the 80s, for me, mid 80s, GE is one of those companies that are the icon of America. Okay, it was the blue chip of blue. Today, GE is 1/5. Yes, let me repeat that 1/5 of what it was compared to what it was back in the mid 80s. So you're talking 30 plus years later, it is 1/5. Sears, as Robert just pointed out, Sears is another one. But back then, Coca-Cola was a blue chip. It's bigger than ever as far as Coca-Cola. McDonald's, same thing. Um, Disney, same thing. So there's a lot of blue chip that has done very well. Okay, But then there are many, many that also fell from grace. Some even disappear, bankrupt, gone. That was considered blue chip. GE last year was almost near bankruptcy. The reason why the stock dropped all the way down to 7, yes, the low that GE went, I think, was somewhere between 7 and 8, 6 or 9 months ago. There was talk of bankruptcy. That's how bad, how trouble GE was. Okay, so there's a lot of blue chipper as far as stocks that went down the tube. Okay, now for those that have the guts to buy GE at 8, 9, guess what? It is 11 or 12 right now, something like that, somewhere over 11, I think. But yeah, it has came back. Now, when you're looking at the comic books, okay, you hear people refer to blue chip as big keys like Amazing Fantasy 15. For Silver Age, for sure, you see a lot of talk about FF1, Amazing Fantasy 15, even Showcase 4. Hello, Roberto Rotando. Myth Left Music, hello, good morning. There are, but one reason why I want to focus on the term blue chip this Sunday is that if you watch my comic market report in the last 4 months, I've been doing that, I think, for the 4 straight months now. You see that there are softness in many blue chip, right? I don't need to go far to talk about Amazing Fantasy 15 that see a 20% decline or more. Depends on the grade, right? If you watch even like Hope 181, many people would consider that a Bronze Age blue chip. Many, not everyone. Maybe the people that hate Hope 181 would never care to give that book any kind of accolade. But for most of us, we would consider Hope 181 a blue chip bronze books, and that has also came down just as much as Amazing Fantasy 15. So when it comes down to it, you see even comic blue chip lost value. Okay, there is, when it comes down to the stock market, I learned at the very early years of investing in the stock market, there is no such thing as safety stock. You hear on CNBC, you hear all the investment professionals talk about safety stocks. Buy something that can help you be safe when the stock market is crashing. Nonsense. Okay? When the stock market crashed in 1987, everything went down. When the stock market crashed in 2000, everything went down. When the stock market crashed in 2008, 2009, everything went down. Okay? The only question is how much? What's the magnitude of the crash? Okay? It's boggle the mind when you hear investment professional on CNBC talk about moving into safety stock because they worry about the stock market. I'm like, the only safety, if there is one, is cash. Okay? If you want to be safe, cash. Not, let's buy a different stock. If you worry about the stock market, buying a different stock because you think it's safe is, it might be safer. Okay? Now, when I said that nothing is safe, there are safer. By safer, mean that you can buy something that might go down less, but it still will go down. Okay, so um, it's not it's not something that is a term, but safe is a term that is almost stupid to talk about the stock market, because there is no such thing. It will go down. Okay, rising tide lift all boats, but receding tide will drag everything with it. Robert talked about commodities, and yeah, I mean that's why I focus on stocks. Okay, there are other things that you can hedge with the stock market. Should the stock market crash, like gold, commodities, bonds, fixed income. So yes, let's not equate what I just said as everything go down. I'm not saying everything go down. I just said stocks. Okay, so let's make it very clear so that I don't have to repeat myself that, oh, this can go up when a stock market crash, that can go up when a stock market crash. Yes, something can, but I'm talking about stocks specifically. uh Scott Farr, let's see. Good as Gold said that I wish CD was still a good option. Unfortunately, I think CD is, well, it's all relative. Okay, it's all relative. For those that old enough like me, that grew up in the 80s, I remember my older sister buying her first house in the outskirts of Boston in the late 80s. The mortgage rate was 14%. Yeah, let me repeat that. 14%. Interest rate is all relative when it comes down to how much you are paying for interest rate and how much you are getting. Okay, it's common sense. What I'm saying here is not shocking news to anyone. I'm sure even for the people in the chat, it's it's a double-edged sword. Okay, I always talk to people about that. We want to pay low rate when we buy things, but we also want high rate when we invest in things. It doesn't work that way. That's not how life works. Okay, if the banks if the banks can only get 4% from you on a 30-year mortgage loan, they are not gonna give you 2% on a CD. Ain't gonna happen. Okay. when my sister was paying 14% interest on a mortgage back in the late 80s, yeah, CD was paying 10%. Yeah, because the bank was still making 4% spread right there, right? So understand how banks work in general will explain why we are getting almost zero for saving account right now, right? I think saving account is paying 0.5%, something. If you don't remember, the saving rate on money market was zero from 2009 to 2016. Yeah, it was zero. That's how bad. That's how rate was so low because the economy was so bad, and yeah, unfortunately, we are in an era of low rates for many years to come. I don't see CD being in the 3 or 4%, dare I say, in my lifetime. Yeah, for the rest of my life, in the next 30, 40 years, should I live until 80? Yeah, I don't see it. That's how bad I think things can be for the next 30 years. I don't see CD being 3 or 4%. That's how gloom and doom I view of the world economy is. Oh, one thing about the banks, if you don't understand how banks works, okay, one of the things that banks need is your money in the savings account, not your checking account, because that is how bank can lend out or leverage up. Okay, I'm sure those that, well, maybe not you, but for me, I get calls from my banks all the time. Oh, Mr. Vu, you have X amount of dollar in your checking account. Can you move some of that? Would you like to move some of that into saving account where you can get 0.5% interest rate? You know why they doing that? Why they calling me like every week to nag me to move the amount of money I have into my savings account and get 5 cents of interest? Because that's how they can show up their balance book. That's how they can lend money out to people. When your money, my money is in the checking account, they can't do that. Okay? And because I hate banks so much, I won't do that so that they can't make the money on me. um, Back to comic books. When it comes down to comic book, the drastic change of blue chip may not be as drastic as stock market. Okay, you're not gonna see something like a GE kind of thing where a stock, a comic book like Amazing Fantasy 15 that was regarded as a blue chip, a mega key, would lose 75% of its value 10 or 20 years from now. I don't think that's is in the card. You might see things shift as far as what is more important. I'm sure many people in this hobby know for 30 years, Fantastic Four #1 was considered more valuable, a bigger blue chip than Amazing Fantasy 15, but Amazing Fantasy 15 overtook Fantastic Four #1 and have keep that. Okay, I don't see a swap. I don't see a swap where, you know, 10 years from now, Fantastic Four #1 will catch up to Amazing Fantasy 15 and overtake. I don't see it. I don't see why it would be. I could be wrong. Like I said, I could be wrong. That's just my personal opinion because I have rarely, if anyone can find a situation where a stock lost its place over a decade or 2 decades and then somehow have a resurgent, let me know. I love data. I comb data to look at statistics, look at numbers to see if something like that happened. I don't really see it. Okay, I don't. And plus, a lot of time, the big problem with big mega key is that there are so few and few books exchanging hands that it's hard to equate. For example, speaking of mega key that used to be the top dog, this week I received from Heritage, massive, massive catalog. And of course, the big dog of this auction that many channels has already talked about is this book right here. Okay, this book for decades, 40, 50 years, was considered the #1 book. #1 over Action One, over many books. This one. In the last 10 years, could be longer, Action One has surpassed it. Okay. Can I see this book somehow? Now, if you talk to Golden Age collectors, many would say, oh, it's undervalued, it's this and that. I'm not in the market for this book. I don't care. Let me be very blunt. I couldn't give a rat ass about this book. I don't care. Period. Do I care if it overtake Action One? No. Do I care if it's double in value tomorrow? No. But I just want to show the example of a book that for 40 plus years was a top dog. Okay, if you, I took out my 1981 price guide. Okay, where that book was 40 plus years old. It was a top dog by a big margin over Action One. Okay, so it is what it is. The market, once the market changed its view on a comic book, unlike the stock market, okay, there are a trend that I don't see a reversing. You know, it's time will tell. I can still be wrong. I'm not saying that um, you know I'm not saying that my view is going to be the correct view of that book. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I could be wrong, but I don't see a lot of examples out there of a book regain its spot in the ranking. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. Omega Comics said, I'd rather have Cap One. Same here. Same here, my friend. I would rather have Cap One. And I am not even a big Shazam fan, and I would rather have Wiz One, to be honest, over that book. So it's like I said, it's, you know, the reality is the hobby has spoken about that book for the past 20 years, since the late 90s. If I had to guess, I don't have every single copy of the price guide to know at which point Action One overtook Marvel Comics. I don't know, but if I had to guess, it's probably within the last 20 years, okay, since the late 90s maybe. If you have the answer because you have all the price guide, feel free to leave a comment later of when that took place, because I don't have all the price guide to look it up to see at what point Action One overtook Marvel Comics as the book, the number one book in this hobby. Scott Farr asks, are you a fan of The Flash? I'm a fan of The Flash. I mentioned many times that Showcase 4 is one of the books that I don't have that I still like to add to my collection. Yes, yes, I don't have that book, and it's one of the two books that I would still like to add to my collection. I have reached a point now where I don't really care to buy a lot more for my collection. I got most of what I want, okay, already. And I'm pretty content with not adding anymore. In fact, that's what I'm doing starting this week, is the long road of reducing my personal collection from 3,000 plus books to about 1,000. That's my plan. Okay, I have a long-term view that I would like to reduce my 3,000 plus, give or take a couple hundred books here and there in my personal collection right now, down to about 1,000. So roughly there are 2,000 books to be free, to be let free in the market. Some will be sold raw, some will be slapped to be auctioned off, but it will be a long process. You know, I figure I have 5 to 7 years. You know, the slow plan is 7 years from now. Okay, I want to be out of this when I'm 60 years old. I'm 53 in the next few days. So if I can get it done sooner, okay, my long-term plan is, you know, I like to get it done by the time I'm 60, but at the same time, if I can get it done in 5 years to get rid of 2,000 books, even better. Okay, so but that's really is the plan. Why 5 years? In 5 years, my son will be out of high school, and I will enter in the next phase of life. So if I can uh, get rid of the books that I don't want or don't need in 5 years, my wife will fully retire in 5 years as well, just as I am. I'm mostly retired, but 5 years from now, I want to be 100% out of my business. Right now, I'm like 5%, 10% still working with the business. But in 5 years, when Anthony graduate from high school and enter in college, we want to be out, done. We will do something else, road trip around the country, maybe get a van and just drive around the country and enjoy, life, sightseeing, doing things that we have never done before. But that's the plan. That's the long-term plan. Thank you, Jeremy. Miflap Music, you turn 50 in November 12th. Hey, you one day ahead of me. So happy birthday to you, sir. Nowhere Bound. I just turned 54. My son and daughter aren't big into comics, so I am getting ready to sell most of my small collection. There you go. Same thing with us. I am, I love the hobby, but at the same time, my son is not into it. He enjoy the superhero movies, but like most kids his age or his friends, he go see a movie once and he's like, okay, I like it, but I don't need to see Avengers twice. I don't need to see Spider-Man twice. He has not. I can't recall the last time he rewatched any superhero movies. So, I'm not gonna keep things around if he doesn't want them. There's some big keys that I will keep around for him, but yeah. So what I plan to do on Monday is load the video. The cutoff of the auction will be Sunday afternoon. Okay, so it give people a good 5 days to bid on the books. 6 days to bid on the book, and then I'm not sure how often I will run the auction. Whether it's for sure once a month, there will be something. Okay, it's definitely not going to be weekly. Getting rid of say 400 books a year is not that hard to do, to be honest. So, if I let go of say 40 books, 30 to 40 books a month, I can easily get to that 5-year goal, right? And so, it might be once a month, the auction. It might be twice a month, depending on the books. Like some books will be sold individually. Some books will be sold in lots. It's all depend on what I think the market wants. Like if I was selling, say, not that I plan to sell my duplicate Spider-Man Silver Age books yet. Those will be probably the last to be let go, because I plan to keep one complete run of Spider-Man, but I don't need 3 copies of Spider-Man 5, But when it comes down to those kind of books, they most likely will be slab and sell. I'm not gonna sell a $1,000 book raw auction on YouTube. Let's get real here, okay? That ain't gonna happen. So a lot of the bigger books, by bigger books, I mean like things that are 500 or more that are in the slabs are most likely to be consigned with Comic Link on my comic shop. But going forward, I will do that. I will let people know, even if I slabs the books, I will, show it after I get back from CGC, and then I will tell people that, I consign the book with my comic shop. I will try to sell it here for those cheaper books. By cheaper books, I mean things that are $200 or less. I will definitely have some auction with slabs on YouTube. But for the bigger books, more than 200 to the 500 or more, Comic Link on my comic shop, off they will go. Live auction limit your audience. Yeah, live auctions, you know, I think I did a couple live auctions 2 years ago, and it is never a good time. You know, there are never a good time to run an auction that can include everybody. I mean, and let's get real, okay? My following on YouTube is very small, okay? Compared to many other channels that run a lot of auctions, like the New York Warriors or other channels that have weekly auctions. I have a very small following, and to be blunt, there's no way I'm sitting around running a live auction for 2 or 3 hours on YouTube. F no. Okay, so I will sell the cheap stuff running the auction my way. And as long as it works, as long as some people is willing to buy. And one other thing, the auction going forward on these books are most likely, well, I already shot the video, but I put a minimum, like I start out like some lots, I said the starting bid is $10. The starting bid is $50 or something on certain lot, just to cut the BS. Okay, if a lot is worth $200 on eBay, I'm not gonna starting bid at $1 and watch 50 people bid 5, 10. It's nonsense. It's a waste of time on everyone. So I start the bid say 50, and then basically every lot will have a starting bid at the price that I felt is cheap, that I can let go even if one person bid. You know, if a lot start out at $10 on 5 books, basically that's what I'm comfortable selling them at, the minimum. I don't need to start at $1. It's a waste of everybody's time. And hey, if nobody wants it, even for $10, then I move it somewhere else. I ship it to my comic shop or something to get rid of it. I don't care. You know, it's I want to run the auction long enough, my format, so that it gives ample people the opportunity to look at the books and to bid on them. I dislike live auction because, well, one of the reasons why I don't like live auction is that the quality of the video are terrible. Okay, I mean, whenever I watch a video on auction and people show the books, it's just like it's so grainy. It's so you can't even see anything as far as the quality of the book. And I prefer people to be able to see the book. Like if I say something is 9.4 or 9.6, I want the person that bid on the books to be able to see the book, and you know, and agree with the grade or not. That's fine. If they don't agree with the grade, that's fine. But I want the quality of the video to be good enough for people to see. Yeah, Robert said that he didn't bid on the last auction, and that's fine. You know, I mean, if those books are not what you want, that's fine. I didn't put a whole lot of effort into grading every single book. I talk about this. You know, the internet is a stupid thing because you know a lot of time you have to repeat yourself 10 times because you know just because I said something once, other people don't pay attention or don't listen to it, and they're just like, oh, you didn't do it this thing this way, you didn't do it that. I'm like, no, I talk about that. I was very specific that there were books that I auctioned off 4 or 5 months ago are low grade, non-keys readers, stuff that are quarter bin, dollar bins kind of stuff. And who needs for me to sit there and give you the exact grade on 50 book slots? when they are selling for 50 cents or 25 cents a book. Really? How many people want to do that? Yeah, so, you know, some of the criticism is just stupid, to be blunt. Because one thing I don't do is I don't waste my time. I choose my time wisely. And, if people don't like it, if people don't feel comfortable bidding on something because they don't see enough, that's okay. I don't take offense on people not wanting to buy the books. Let's make it very clear. Everyone have the right to buy something and not buy something. And one thing, I'm not sure how blocking work with YouTube. Like if I block somebody, mute somebody, or make somebody invisible, I don't know. I'm not sure how that would work, because I'm guessing if they try to bid on something, they can't, right? That's my guess. I don't know. I don't pay attention. But if you plan to bid on something and for some reason your bid doesn't show up or you can't bid, then you know why. I blocked you. I block a lot of people. I have zero tolerance for stupidity, to be very blunt. Okay. My personality may not jive with a lot of people, because some people like to be all friendly and be cool with everybody. No, not me. I have low tolerance for stupid, and if I felt that the comment is stupid or out of place, I usually delete the comment and block the person. There is no second chance with me. Okay, let me be very clear. That's just the way I run my life. It doesn't bode well with a lot of people, because I don't give people second chance, but it is what it is. I just look at the time, 10:10. So in 20 minutes, the chat will go away. So back to comic books. When it comes down to comic books, okay, the blue chip is not. I don't want people to take away that blue chip can't go down. Okay, if anything, Amazing Fantasy 15, Hook 181, they went down a lot. Okay, you can't sugarcoat a drop of 20 or 25% as, it's just, no. When something dropped 20, 25% or more, it hurts. Let's be very honest about that, okay? Trust me, if you invest in a stock and it dropped 25%, you feel the pain. Okay, anyone, you buy a house, it dropped 25%, you would get depressed. So it is not even a question that it's a bad thing when something dropped 20 to 25%. But as long as you understand the market has its ups and downs, like everything else, it has its ups and downs. You can't, nothing go up in a straight line. Okay, that's one of the things that I can't stress enough to a lot of younger collectors, younger and newer. Okay, I try not to use the word younger as if like everybody that entered this hobby is young. There are plenty of people that may start collecting, start investing in comic books in their 30s or 40s. They're not young. They might be new to this hobby, but they're not young. But if you're new to this hobby and you think that the hot stuff, the blue chip, are good investment, make sure you understand that they can go down just like any investments. They might go down less. They might go down more depending on how hot they got. Like, Amazing Fantasy 15 and Hook 181, they got way ahead of their skis. They were going up steadily, right? 10% here and there every year. And then all of a sudden, the last 2 years, Amazing Fantasy 15 and Hook 181 double in 2 years. Ridiculous. Nothing should do that. No solid investment can do that, okay? So they can, but they can't maintain it. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so I think for a lot of people, they need to understand that. That's the biggest thing that I want people to take away is that, if you're in this game for investment, if you're in this game for the long term, just know that whatever you buy, whatever you invest can go down. And if you're smart, buy more. Okay. If you're smart, the time to buy another Amazing Fantasy 15 was 3 months ago, 6 months ago, when it was down a lot. Now, does it mean that it stopped going down? I'm not saying that. But if you wanted an Amazing Fantasy 15 last year, you would not hear me say, go buy it. Okay. If you want a copy of Amazing Fantasy 15 last year when it was so hot, you would not, I'm sure you did not hear me talk on my channel that the book to get. Okay, I recognize that it's a book that a lot of people wants. That I do recognize. But at the same time, I'm like, it's way too hot. That's why I sold one of my Hook 181 early this year. No, late last year. I sold a Hook 181, one of my 3 copies, because it got way ahead of its skis. So I sold a copy, and then guess what? I bought another Hook 181 a few months back for cheap. That's what you should do. Okay, wait until something for blue chip books. The time to buy is, when it dropped like 25%. If you've been waiting to buy a copy, that's a good time to get in. Now, does that mean that you got in at the bottom and it dropped? Here's the thing. If you go in and buy a Hook 181 or an Amazing Fantasy 15 earlier this year, and you bought it, say 20-25% below the high, and then the book come down another 5%, the last thing you should do is freak out that you missed the bottom. Okay, it's okay. Picking the bottom is near impossible. It's more luck than skills. Okay, so be happy that you got a copy 20-25% below fair market value, and a year from now, 2 years from now, you might look smart by doing so. So don't worry that you did not get the bottom. That's the thing that I always stress to a lot of collectors that bought something and then they see a 5% dip. They freak out like, oh my God, it's okay. That will happen. Let's see. Good as Gold asks, is Tech 225 a blue chip? It's okay. It's not. It's if it's not, to me, it's one of those books that some people will consider a blue chip and some don't. Okay, there are books out there that a lot of people cannot deny that it is a blue chip. Okay, no brainer, like Action 1, Amazing Fantasy 15. But there are books out there that are in the iffy, in that some people, I'm sure a lot of DC collectors, a lot of hardcore DC collectors that like Batman and Joker and all that stuff, they will say, what the heck are you talking about, Nick? It is a blue chip. Okay, so I'm not saying that they're wrong. They have the right to say that. But if you talk to a modern collector that don't collect DC, they might say, who cares? Okay, so it is what it is. Okay, there are certain books that even newer collector will recognize and know and want, like Hook 181 in general. So that's more of like a known blue chip. Okay, so if you want to compare books, when I talk a book is like in the middle, it's because not everybody consider that book a blue chip. I like it. Heck, I love to have a copy for my collection, but I'm not going to pay crazy money to have a copy. Dead Clones asks, do you use GPAs as pricing reference when you buy raw books? The answer is yes. Why? Why do I use GPA when I buy raw books? Why? Think about it. Because I slap them to sell. Period. End of discussion. Yeah, that might sound like a crude answer, but how else would I sell the books, right? Most of the stuff I buy raw are valuable stuff in a slab, more valuable in a slab. So absolutely, I want to know what the GPA is for that book in a slab. So my strategy has always been buying raw books that are undergraded, slap them and sell them. I know you don't watch a lot of my videos, but take a look at my Path to a Key or Art of the Flip. That's all I do is I buy raw stuff, undergrade stuff, and I slap them to sell. So absolutely, GPA is a must. Even though, GPA is not perfect, okay? A lot of people ask me questions on GPA, and maybe I need to do a video specifically to talk about it because I get this question all the time, and I feel like I'm repeating myself, is that GPA is not perfect, but it's a tool of reference that you can use, especially if you're in this market buying and selling slabs. I mean, it floors me that people that focus on slabs, as far as collectors, I know a few collectors out there that bid, collect, buy a lot of slabs, and they don't have GPA. And I'm just like, how do you determine what you're paying for? Yes, GPA is not a perfect pricing mechanism, but how would you determine how to bid? Because the books, the slabs, are not selling anything close to what the Overstreet Guide is. So how else would you determine what your maximum bid would be for anything, right? So yeah, you got to use it. Good As Gold asks, buy yourself a birthday book. Believe it or not, this year is the first year that I didn't even look to buy something. In the previous few years, I have always bought something nice. Like, by nice, I mean like, buy something that I might pay fair market value. And this year, in fact, last night at dinner, I told my wife my plan of, selling off a big chunk of my collection in the next 5 years, and I'm done. In fact, one of my personal goal for 2019 is buy less. Okay, I reached a point where, now that I begin the process of shrinking the collection, I don't want to buy 10, 15 books a month like I've been doing. Okay, I've been buying, at least 10 books plus every month. And I told my wife it would defeat the purpose of reducing the collection if I keep adding while I'm trying to shrinking down the collection. Do I still buy? It has to be a great deal. It has to be a good book to flip. Yes, I will still do that. But I will raise my my standard for a book to qualify into I'm going to buy it for a flip. It has to be something much better. Instead of like hitting a single, unless I see a double or triple, I don't care. I'm not going to waste my effort. So that's one way to force myself to buy less, because like I said, I want to reduce my collection, not keep adding to my collection. So, and that started with, I'm not going to buy myself a birthday book. Don't need it. I told my wife, I have no desire to buy anything. That's fine. I'm done. Robert, okay, let's look at the time, 10:23. I would think that Comic Link would be more dynamic pricing reference that is accurate to the day. Um, the reason why I use Comic Link specifically to do the market report is that A, it's a big auction every month. B, Comic Link does not provide data to GPA. Okay, so if you have GPA, you're fine. Okay, but if you want to see what the market is doing outside of GPA, Comic Link is a good gauge because it's so many. I mean, they auction off 5,000 to 6,000 slabs every month, if not more, even more than 5,000. But it's crazy. The amount of slabs that Comic Link auction off is astounding. Okay, every month. So that's my biggest reason to pick out Comic Link to do the market report. Is that because it's provide a view, a market view that is not captured with GPA. Does that make sense? Yeah. I mean that's the main reason. I mean, what's the point of doing a market report using GPA? Because then it's like reporting what's going on with eBay, right? Uh, if you have GPA, do you need me? Do you need me to comment on what's going on with the market outside of eBay? Well, maybe you do. But I have no interest in comment on what's going on with eBay. I'd rather comment on what's going on outside of eBay that is not captured by GPA. Anyhow, look at the time, 5 more minutes to go before I say goodbye. So yes, a big change in strategy going forward. Buy less, uh, buy less, sell more. Okay, that's the strategy. That is, you know, it started this year. What I did this year was the beginning of the buy less, sell more, and I want to step that up even more going forward because up until this year, I bought a lot. Okay, I bought hundreds of books every year, hundreds. And I told my wife, if I was gonna buy 300 or 400 books a year, like I did the last 3 years, reducing is a pain in the butt. Okay, trying to reduce the collection by 300 or 400 or 500 plus books a year is just gonna be much more difficult if I'm adding 300 or 200 books a year, right? Because if I buy 15 books a month on average, there's 180 books right there. So no, I want to be able to reduce my collection by a couple hundred books every year. So the best way to do it is to buy less, to limit what I consider books I want to flip, and then I can reduce and get to my goal quicker. The quicker I get to my goal, the better. Okay, I have a 7-year goal, but that's like the slowest way. And like I said, I prefer to get there quicker. 5 years would be good. 3 years would be even more awesome, to be blunt. If I reduce my collection by 2,000 books in the next 3 or 4 years, that would be awesome. Trust me. I want to let the book go. I want to let the books go into the hands of people that will enjoy them because I have many of these books for decades. It's time to let them go. I want to move on to the next phase of life. I will still have 1,000 books. Make no mistake. Okay, it's not like I quit the hobby and say, "Oh, I hate comic books." I still have. I will still have 1,000 books, and there will be a series down the road that talk about my keepers. Okay, I will show the books, why I keep them, why I decide that these books are keepers. So there will be a series down the road. Instead of the art of the flip, a path to a key, there will be a series that show my remaining 1,000. There will be a countdown of my 1,000 that I keep. So yeah, there'll be plenty more videos to come. Yes, I just answered your question, Dead Clone. There will be a videos on those. So I think most people that watch my videos uh, already heard. I talk about what I'm keeping already. You know, it's just that I it wouldn't be a surprise to a lot of people to see the keepers because I talk about that for the last year plus on YouTube. So it won't be a surprise to a lot of people. I think a lot of people can guess what they are already, to be honest. Anyhow, it's 10:29, so I'm gonna be gone within a minute. Thank you everybody for joining me. Yes, happy birthday to me. On Tuesday, I will turn 53. 53, wowza. But the end of the year is coming, right? So I have one more haul videos, I think. I try to remember. I have one more haul videos to load, one more art of the flip haul video to show. Also, my top 5 favorite purchase of the year. I have so many videos. Trust me, it's I have more than I need. I can stop making videos right now and probably can load a new video once a day for the next 50 days. It's insane. Too much free time is a problem. Anyhow, enjoy your football Sunday. Most likely, I won't have another chat until after Thanksgiving. You know, I don't have this chat more than once a month. So most likely the first week of December will be the next chat. Anyhow, bye-bye. Thank you for watching.